Billionaires bought your media, so what will you do to take it back? In the remaining days before the election, millions will be spent to spread disinformation. Hey folks, it's Kathleen, Executive Director of Progress Texas, the largest progressive digital network in Texas. We fight billionaire-backed lies with progressive podcasts and digital media that does year-round what the far right has been doing for decades, informing, educating, and building trust. Join us and invest in the real free press during our sustaining membership drive. Your donation turns out our unique audience of independents, progressives, and young voters. They are the Texans who will decide this election.
Aaron Moore, I work for Congresswoman Julie Johnson's office. I listen to Progress Texas every night, and by the time I listen to it, the crazy in Texas could have changed. So I try and listen to it twice a day just to make sure I'm up. And I just became a sustaining donor to support fighting the crazy that is in Texas. And you should support Progress Texas so you can be in the know on what we have to fight, what we have to do, and what we need to say.
It's Wednesday, July 29, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch Rapid Response on breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. We cannot do what we do without your support. Thanks huge to John Arnsparger, Kristen Hartwell, and John Gorner for their ongoing sustaining partnership. We've said it before, and we'll say it again because it's well worth remembering that Texas Democrats have been burned and burned and burned again by optimistic polling, but we just can't help ourselves when a pretty one comes out. So here we go. Gabby Birnbaum at the Texas Tribune dives in on a new poll from Texas Public Opinion Research, which, while we're sure has been done with the utmost care and discipline, let's be really clear, is indeed run by a well-known Democratic strategist, our friend Luke Warford. The Trib says TPOR's latest survey of 1,048 likely voters uncovers critical shifts across key voter groups in the U.S. Senate race and finds Democrat James Talarico leading Republican Ken Paxton by 5 points, 45% to 40%. There is lots of meat to chew on here. Talarico's strongest advantage is found in this poll among independent and moderate voters. He takes independents by 20 points, 43 to 23%, with 29% remaining undecided, and an even wider margin among voters who describe themselves as moderates. Talarico beats Paxton by 34 points there, 54% to 20%. Broken down by educational levels, we see results that are most definitely counterintuitive and in defiance of historical trends, as James Talarico leads Ken Paxton by 9 percentage points among voters without college degrees, 45% to 36%. The strange part here, among voters with at least a bachelor's degree, the race is much closer. It's nearly tied, in fact, with Talarico ahead by only a single percentage point. In contrast to recent reporting and much worry, racial and ethnic breakdowns show strong support for James Talarico among black voters, 71% to 8%. And almost as strong among Latino voters, 66% for Talarico, 20% to Paxton. The AG's main demographic stronghold appears among white voters. I regretfully report that Paxton wins that group by 20 points, 53% to Talarico's 33%. Screened for party allegiance, there appears to be a higher level of consolidation among Democrats than among Republicans in Texas this time, with Talarico dragging 7% of self-identified Republicans across the aisle to vote for him. That's frankly wild. Meanwhile, there's room for that number to grow as about 12% of self-described GOP voters remain uncommitted. Paxton captures about 1% of self-identified Democrats, just picture those people, while 6% of self-described Dems say they're still undecided. Overall, 14% of the respondents remain undecided across the electorate, pressing them to lean one way or the other. Provides the best news perhaps here for Ken Paxton as 19% lean his way, 10% lean toward Talarico, and 2/3 or so undecided that they don't even want to talk about it. Tight margins further down the ballot, which is actually good news historically for Democrats in Texas. Governor Greg Abbott up 3 points over Gina Hinojosa, and Republican Attorney General nominee Mays Middleton much tighter against Democrat Nathan Johnson by only 1 percentage point, with lots of undecided voters floating around in both of those races too. Polls are polls, of course, but what I'm taking away from this poll is that James Talarico is making a real impact on the electorate, that the race is indeed competitive in a state where that's not always true for Democrats, that strong effort has to continue both for Team Talarico and the down-ballot Dems, that this is doable, that this is winnable. 97 days to go. Let's stick with a little more happy news here. I've been having pandemic flashbacks lately, except instead of hiding from COVID, I'm hiding from the heat these days. ERCOT has been announcing record after record for energy demand as every air conditioner in Texas works overtime. And the Dallas Morning News editorial board notices that ERCOT has been pretty easily able to keep up because of clean, renewable energy. Despite the best efforts of the fossil fuel sector, solar and wind power has been providing well over half of the state's electricity during peak noon hours on these recent hot summer days, in amounts that comfortably surpass the daytime load being carried by natural gas-fired production. Strength in renewable capacity has directly translated to much stronger overall resilience under pressure than the notoriously flimsy Texas power grid has come to be known for. The forecasted threat of rolling blackouts has been reduced to an afterthought as we head into the true dog days of summer as August approaches to less than 1% during expected peak demand next month. This is happening despite the efforts, again, of fossil fuel-funded Republican state leaders to hamstring renewable power with burdensome regulations and legislative hurdles. And if there's any really good news we can embrace this summer, it's that the tangible benefits of renewable energy have become obvious and undeniable. Of course, that's true now, but what about after hundreds and hundreds of power-hungry data centers come online as they're currently projected to do? Only one man in this state has the power to slow the data center roll, and Governor Greg Abbott has thus far failed to back up his rhetoric with action. Megan Kimball and Benjamin Wormand at the San Antonio Express-News say calls for an immediate special legislative session on data centers has taken on a clear bipartisan tone. Protesters from across the political spectrum have recently gathered at the state capitol to demand that Governor Abbott take emergency action to place a moratorium on further data center development. And the Office of Texas Agriculture Commissioner has become prominent on this issue as the primaried out incumbent Sid Miller has his gloves off, while Democratic nominee Clayton Tucker has made opposition to corporate data centers a central pillar of his campaign, highlighting how these massive facilities exploit rural land and resources while offering minimal long-term economic benefit to local folks out in the Texas countryside. And it wouldn't be Texas if religion didn't figure in here, and joint reporting between Religion News Service and the Texas Tribune shows that it sure does. Alongside environmental concerns over explosive tech expansion comes surprisingly colorful theological rhetoric in opposition, as well as both Christian and Jewish voices rise to warn local officials against making deals with the devil by trading God's country for godless technological complexes, drawing on the book of Revelation to paint AI as an apocalyptic surveillance threat. Clayton Tucker's in on this too. He's Catholic, and he draws a comparison between the embrace of hyperscale AI computing and Adam and Eve eating the forbidden apple of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. That's a pretty solid metaphor, actually. Whether from a spiritual, secular, or scientific perspective, a broad chorus of Texans are correctly speaking up about the protection of finite natural resources as a core human moral duty. Public backlash against big tech continues to build, as does the pressure on our governor to make a bold move to put a stop to this unfettered wave of exploitation sweeping across Texas. A wave, of course, he has himself helped to start. Governor Greg Abbott, his job on the line in a real way, arguably for the first time ever, is in a really tough spot. Houston listeners, the next episode of our In Progress Roundtable show will come to you on the radio on KPFT 90.1 FM at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow and every Thursday. And San Antonio listeners, it's on in your town too at the same time, 6:30 Thursday afternoons on Powerhouse Radio 101.5 FM. With your support, we hope to continue to expand our radio footprint across Texas this year. Click the link in the show notes to make your tax-deductible donation to help us reach new audiences via Texas radio. This election year, you can support the real free press by investing in pro-democracy, pro-justice, progressive storytelling delivered by Texans for Texans. Join Progress Texas this summer ahead of the midterms and become a monthly donor today, or increase your giving during our summer sustaining donor drive. With your partnership, we can reach more independents, progressives, and young voters, all of whom must be mobilized to win elections. And we'll thank you with Perks for Progress, your choice between our exclusive Resist coffee mug, a sweet Progress Texas summer koozie, and a progressive button pack. Plus, you'll get a shout out on the Daily Dispatch like this one for our friend Greg Pulte, who's become a regular at our live events and a strong advocate for public education in the Dallas area. Greg, we're super proud to have you on our side, and we look forward to lots more fun with you. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Learn more about what we do and how you can get involved at progresstexas.org. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you again here tomorrow morning.